Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Fallout New Vegas. My name's Camel, and in this video, we are going to be covering the Easter eggs that can be found in Fallout New Vegas, but specifically, the Wild Wastelands Easter eggs. Now, for all of the Easter eggs in this video to be active or present in your game of Fallout New Vegas, you do need the Wild Wastelands trait active. There are two ways to do this, the first of which is during the character creation. You get the opportunity to assign two traits from a long list, the Wild Wastelands being one of those traits. So you can assign it there, or in the Old World Blues DLC,
you're my best friend forever.
Marry me, bitch! You can go into the sync and to the sync auto dock, and if you undergo a psychiatric evaluation, what this actually lets you do is reassign your traits. But you can only do it once, so you do only have two opportunities in the game to activate the Wild Wastelands trait. Now just quickly, we will take a look at the Wild Wastelands trait. As we can see, Wild Wasteland unleashes the most bizarre and silly elements of the post-apocalyptic America, not for the faint of heart or the serious of temperament. Okay, so now that we have the Wild Wasteland trait active, let's get into this. Occasionally, when walking around Freeside and talking to some of the locals, they will say this.
You hear about that band of crazy old ladies running around? I hear they're real vicious when they mug folks.
So apparently there's some crazy old ladies running around who are vicious when mugging folks. So inside Freeside, we want to come to this big building called the Cerulean Robotics. Once in here, just have a browse around, look at the nothingness. But once you make the right decision and decide to exit the building, you will find that very gang of crazy old ladies that go by the name of Maud's Muggers. Now, Maud's Muggers could possibly be a reference to a Monty Python sketch named Hell's Grannies, but that has not been confirmed, only speculated. And apparently these grannies got bored with bingo, and I refused to play Scrabble, so I treated them with the uttermost respect. And here we will see that Maud's Muggers consists of the three grannies, Irate Ida, Malefic Maud, and finally Rancorous Ruth, armed with cigarettes, switchblades, and rolling pins. Why they attack when you leave a robotics building, I don't know, perhaps it's some kind of metaphor for old people's relationship with technology. Now, for this next one, we need to come to the Devil's Throat, which can be found to the very northeast of the map. We will have to travel from here, but I'll give you a more specific location in a second, and just a warning, upon arrival you will probably have to fight through many armies and waves of mutated enemies, which is always good. But once that's done, we need to come to this very specific spot, to the northwest of Devil's Throat. While stepping over the minced remains of our enemies, we can see that there is something sitting in the ground, landed, a crater. Upon closer inspection, we will discover that it is in fact a bomb. And we can see that this bomb is called The One. The One appears to be of the same make as the bomb in Megaton from Fallout 3, a Vault-Tec Industries C-23 Megaton nuclear weapon. And with a science skill of 60, the courier can salvage components from The One, specifically 150 energy cells and 50 microfusion cells and 2 sensor modules. Originally, mini nukes could be retrieved from The One, however the script associated with this is disabled. If we have a look at the timer, we can see it is stuck on either 9999 or 6666, depending on your view on life. Interestingly, The One is apparently a reference to the Big One, the rocket in the first Toy Story movie that Buzz Lightyear has strapped to his back. So a nod to Toy Story. For this next Easter egg, we need to come to Camp Searchlight. And where my character currently is, there is a church. Now there are two churches in Camp Searchlight, but we need to come to this church, both of which have hatches to the basement, but we want to come to this one, cellar door to Searchlight Church basement. In the basement, we will discover golden geckos. Remove their heads and be done with it. But on the table here, we'll find two boxes, one of which filled with grenades. As we can see there, they do look like normal grenades, but they have a cross painted on them. And if we read the script on the back of the box, holy hand grenades. Pull pin and count to 5, 3. This is of course a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where they have the weapon, the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. When he pulls the pin, he counts 1, 2, 5, 3, sir, 3. Therefore the 5 with a cross through it. It is a good thing that rabbit is not around. For this next one, we need to come to the Strip North Gate, which is of course guarded by Securitrons. And then what we want to do is engage them in combat. If we stand quite close to them, we can actually hear something eerily familiar.
Exterminate. 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 Move along. exterminate.
They actually keep repeating exterminate, the catchphrase, if you will, of the Daleks from Doctor Who. So they must of course be treated just like Daleks. For this next one, we need to come to this bend in the road just to the southeast of Good Springs. Once in this specific bend in the road, we veer off the road to the left, we can find a fridge filled with a skeleton and a suave gambler hat. Also some notably colored clothing. This is in fact a nod to the Indiana Jones movie Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. There is a scene in that movie where Indiana Jones hops inside a refrigerator to survive a nuclear bomb blast. In the movie, he of course survives, but this is obviously pointing towards that the developers had different ideas as to ways that movie should have ended. I can further confirm this as I was watching a Bethesda Softworks studio tour hosted by Todd Howard, where he says, and I quote, "I was watching Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, a movie I don't plan on watching again." So having Todd Howard, an executive producer and game director of Bethesda Studios, say that, and then for this to rock up in game and to be a Wild Wastelands encounter, I would consider that confirmed. And I must agree, this ending would have been much better. Now, for this next one, we need to head to Horowitz Farmstead. We will be heading north from there. So now that we're heading north towards that rock ledge, we will see that. A suspicious hovering vehicle. And some strange looking men in white suits. What could this be? This is of course a band of aliens, so we give them the good old Earthling welcome and a very short haircut. And if we take a close up look, we can see that this is the same ship that we found in Fallout 3 crashed on the ground. And this captain here is of course who you get the alien blaster off, the unique energy weapon. So that's pretty cool, some aliens and a flying saucer. Welcome to Earth. Now, for this next Easter egg, you need the companion Rex, the Cyberdog. If you talk to Rex, he'll say that. You want to click, huh? And the third option, did someone fall into a well? Let's go check out the well, boy. And then Jimmy's well will be marked on your map. As we can see, the field shack just under the field shack is Jimmy's well. Once we get here, we will find this well, Jimmy's well. If only Jimmy was well. Once we get down here, we will find that Jimmy is no longer just a pile of bones. With his little BB gun and his hat. And this is of course a nod to the show Lassie. Lassie being the dog, and Jimmy being Timmy, the most popular or famous of Lassie's owners throughout the various seasons. However, there is a giant myth hovering above this Easter egg. It is considered common knowledge that Lassie comes running into Timmy's mother, barks a couple of times, and then the mother replies with a famous line, "What's that, Lassie? Timmy fell down a well?" This is in fact not true at all. Timmy or Jimmy or whoever this little shithead is never actually fell down a well at all in the show. I was going to give you a well count, but it's 0. But if you were wondering what your favorite child actor has been doing all these years, he's been dead at the bottom of a well. For this next Easter egg, we need to come to Cottonwood Cove in the southeastern corner of the map. Once here, we will find that it is a Legion base or a Legion town. But on the side of this building, we will find this. Romanes Aint Domus. This is of course a reference to the Monty Python's The Life of Brian, where he is writing this on a wall, gets caught by the guards, and as punishment is forced to write it 100 times. And in-game it's also been painted on in red, just like in the movie. And of course the Legion in Fallout being very heavily influenced by Roman culture. So the perfect place to put that Easter egg. Now for this next one, it's not strictly a Wild Wastelands Easter egg because it's not actually in the game. Everything's there ready to go and it was meant to be a Wild Wastelands random encounter, but the script for this was disabled, so you have to summon this creature with console commands. All you need to do is type player.placeatme space 0011324A space 1. What this will do is summon a gecko. However, this gecko is, I think, 4 times the size it should normally be. And its editor ID is Gojira, which is the Japanese word for Godzilla. And apparently the correct way to pronounce Godzilla, Gojira. And then someone went, "It's bloody Godzilla, mate." And ever since then, everyone's been saying it incorrectly. Although it's called Gecko, its editor ID is Gojira, meaning that this thing is meant to represent Godzilla. I don't think Godzilla could breathe fire. I think he shot lightning. maybe. I don't know, some of those older Godzilla movies got pretty intense with the abilities they had there. As you can see, this Gojira is quite strong, quite big, breathes fire, and has a HP of 8,000. Which is a lot. So like I said, although it's not actually in-game, it can't be found in-game, it is cool and it was planned to be a Wild Wastelands encounter. And it's a pretty neat one, so I thought I'd show you guys, because I mean, you're not ever really gonna see it otherwise. But with the Gojira being such a rare and endangered species, I wasn't gonna do anything silly and I thought we should treat it with the uttermost respect. For this next Easter egg, we need to head to Nipton. Once you're in Nipton, we want to head towards the hall and turn right. And directly in front of us, that burnt down rickety rack skeleton of a house, we want to head over to there. And here we will find 2 skeletons. As we can see by looking at the skeletons, that they are named Owen and Baru. And their desecrated corpses lie side by side. This is obviously a nod to the original Star Wars, later renamed Star Wars A New Hope, where Luke Skywalker's auntie and uncle, Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, are burnt, and their bodies lay burnt on the ground, just like we find their bodies here in Fallout New Vegas. For this next Easter egg, we need to head to Brockflower Cave. And once inside Brockflower Cave, we want to head to the left and down. And down here in this final chamber, we will discover the ROUS, the Rouse. Rodents of unusual size. I think in this cave there's a total of 11 of them. Now the rodents of unusual size are a reference to the Princess Bride. The rodents of unusual size, or the Rouse, being one of 3 terrors of the forest. If you have seen the Princess Bride, you will know exactly what this is. They must be treated with the uttermost respect. So we need to head to the east pump station and then to the east of the east pump station, and we'll find the manhole cover to the east central sewers. Now there is supposedly more rodents of unusual size in this one location here, and you'll find out why I say supposedly in a second. Now in here we will find 2 of something very curious. We will find 2 unnaturally large-sized rodents. Now I have done some research into this, and this is the encounter they're talking about when they say the second ROUS encounter. And it is confirmed as a Wild Wastelands encounter. However, as you can see, they are not called rodents of unusual size. They are called unnaturally large-sized rodent. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know if that was done on purpose or what happened there, if there's something more to what seems to be a simple difference in name. But now that there's only 2 of them left, they must be treated with the uttermost respect. With, of course, preservation in mind. And another thing, if you're on the quest called Debt Collector and you speak to Lady Jane, and you offer to retrieve the caps from her caravan, she will say this.
But what about the ROUSs?
Rodents of unusual size? I don't believe they exist. Which is a set of lines taken directly from The Princess Bride. Specifically the scene involving the ROUS in the movie. So there's 3 references to the ROUS from The Princess Bride. For this next Easter egg, there are 2 rare and random dialogues that Mr. New Vegas will say over the radio. The first of which being,
"Stay classy, New Vegas."
which is of course a nod to Anchorman, where Ron Burgundy says, "Stay classy, San Diego." And the next one you can hear Mr. New Vegas say this.
Mojave, mo problems. Am I right?
And that is of course a reference to the song Mo Money, Mo Problems by the Notorious B.I.G. So there's 2 cool little pop culture references by the man himself, Mr. New Vegas. Now when you're on the unmarked side quest to assassinate Motor Runner, the Fiend's leader, when you head into Vault 3 and actually speak to him face to face, if you click the option "The NCR sent me here to take care of you," and then you say "Appearances can be deceiving, shall we?" And then he will say this.
I haven't had a good fight in a while, and it's been ages since Donnie and Marie had something they could sink their teeth into.
Now take note of what he calls his dogs.
And it's been ages since Donnie and Marie had something they could sink their teeth into.
Donnie and Marie. So that's interesting, but as you can see here in that, his dogs are called Bone Nash and Gash Bone, and are most certainly not called Donnie and Marie. Now apparently there is a script which has been disabled which renames Motorunner's dogs to Donnie and Marie. Even with that said, this doesn't explain why they become Donnie and Marie. I don't know if that's a reference to something. It is very likely that it's a reference to some obscure old sitcom, something like that. That does happen a lot of the time with strange names in games. So if anyone does know what Donnie and Marie would be referencing, please do let me know in the comments. And for this next Easter egg, we need to head to the cliff face just to the west of Goodsprings Source. And as we head up the path here, we will come across a fridge and some geckos. We want to head to the right towards that footlocker. And up here, we will see something that does seem quite odd. We have a dead man called Johnny. Now, Johnny is actually a reference to a character from a computer game that was never made called Johnny 5 Aces. And here is the original concept art for Johnny 5 Aces. And as you can see, there are definitely similarities. There are 5 aces, 4 on the table, 1 on the ground underneath, and a cigar in the ashtray. Now this is actually a nod to a game called Zyborn Clock. Johnny is a nod to the character Johnny 5 Aces from the Zyborn Clock, an abandoned game project proposed and mocked incessantly by members of the Something Awful forums. His appearance in Fallout New Vegas is based on the original concept sketch of the character as well as some of the concept storyline. The following is a quote the main developer of Zyborn Clock used to describe the project, and I quote, "When the object enters the time stream, time begins to correct itself. Let me use this example. Imagine 4 balls on the edge of a cliff. Say a direct copy of the ball nearest the cliff is sent to the back of the line of balls and takes the place of the first ball. The formerly first ball becomes the second becomes the third, and the fourth falls off the cliff." Jesus Christ, they should have just thrown a Tesseract in there and ended everything. So as you can probably tell from that concept storyline, pretty complex. Maybe it would make more sense as a game, this Zyborn Clock, but that explanation didn't really sell it to me. But if you have ever encountered this in-game, hopefully this sheds some light on that. As you can see, shooting the balls off the cliff does not help in understanding the concept. And for this antepenultimate Easter egg, we need to head to the Ultra Luxe, which of course can be found in the New Vegas Strip. Once inside this decadent and dazzling establishment, we need to be on the quest beyond the beef, which you do also get inside this decadent and dazzling establishment. But once you have the objective to go and talk to the private investigator, you're given the key to his room, you go through the doors, up the stairs, and into the private investigator's room. Oh shit. And you will instantly be attacked by White Glove Society members. Of course, deal with them appropriately. Now that we have time and peace both on our side, we can inspect the body of the dead investigator. As you can see, might already look a little bit familiar, but if you do notice, it says A Search Crusoe. This guy here, Crusoe, being a private investigator, is obviously a nod to the character David Caruso from the CSI Miami, I do believe, who was also an investigator. As you can tell, the face looks a bit similar. They got blonde hair, he's got the shades on the suit. You can see the similarities, and the name is like 1 letter off, as they always do in Fallout pop culture references. Okay, now this is the final, the ultimate Wild Wastelands trait Easter eggs for Fallout New Vegas. Non-DLC, of course. This was the 4th different way that I tried to get this Easter egg to work. There are tons of ways, like if you do one quest that's completely unrelated to this quest, you won't be able to complete it properly. Like if you say the wrong bit of dialogue, it messes up the whole thing. This was the 4th way I tried it, and I got it to work this way. So if you want to guarantee it to work, I suggest following everything as I did. So the first step was to speak to Yes Man. Continue asking him questions, and eventually you'll have to ask about these different tribes, so to speak. What you want to do is ask about the Omertas. Ask about them twice, and you will get this quest here, How Little We Know. Okay, so we've got the quest How Little We Know to go and investigate the Omertas. However, What we want to do now is head back outside and head to the Freeside East Gate. Once here, all we need to do is walk forward to Mick and Ralph's. Once in Mick and Ralph's, we need to head to the back of the store and speak to Mick. We need to ask specifically, how's business? Then ask, what's the deal with the Omertas? Then say, will do, and then say, goodbye. So now that we've done that, you'll get an unmarked quest to try and get the Omertas to buy guns once again from Mick and Ralph's. Now we want to head to the Gomorrah, home of the Omertas, which can be found in the strip, of course. Once inside, I just handed over all of my weapons. You won't be needing weapons for this. Now we need to head over to the receptionist and talk to her. And there now should be an option, the fourth option. I'm calling for an outstanding balance for some information. Tell me what the Omertas are up to. I need to know who to talk to about what's been going on in Gomorrah. She will tell you to go and find Kachino, and then you just say, I need to get going. So now we've got that, all we need to do is run through the Gomorrah, and what we want to do is go through this here, straight through, turn right through this door, and we'll be in the Brimstone, I believe it's called. And there we will find Chino. Now you need to specifically click, I hear you've been doing some business on the side. I hear you've been dealing with some business that is off limits for the family. He'll tell you to get out of his face, and as he walks away, you need to sneak and steal his journal. I would suggest saving before doing this. Now you have his journal, you need to speak to him once again. I found this ledger that proves some of your side business. Now I do believe that you have to click, is this journal worth 100 caps to you? It's very tempting to do the barter option, but I believe it's glitched. And then for a second time, you have to click the 100 caps option. So now you've traded the journal for the 100 caps, but now there's a new option, which is tell me about this troik. Click on that. Then click that's all the questions I have for now. I may have more later. Now we head back the way we came and just do like a full 360 around into this elevator area here. We need to click lower Brimstone once the elevator, walk forward and to the left, go through the double doors, turn left again. At the end of this hallway, turn left through that door. Go past both sets of staircases and the security guard and through the second door, and then continue going straight into the third door. And in this cushioned room, we will find Troik. Once talking to Troik, you must click tell me what happened with the prostitute. Then you must click would you like me to try to get you out of your contract. And now it tells you to go and speak to Big Sal. So you want to go out the way you came and back to the elevator. Once at the elevator, you want to head to the main floor. And you want to go back through to the Brimstone where you were talking to Kachino. But instead, you want to walk forward past the security guard through this door with the key that Kachino gave you, up both sets of stairs, funnily enough, through the pool room and turn left through this door here. Now, if you turn left again, you will find Big Sal. Now, you must click, I'd like to talk to you about Troik. Then click, actually, I'd like to see about getting him out of his obligations to you. Now, it is absolutely vital that you do not click either of the barter options. You must click, can I buy out the rest of his contract for 300 caps? As tempting as the barter options are, they are glitched and will mess up everything. So once you've paid the 300 caps for Troik's contract, you just click goodbye. And then we just run past both the people. Don't go back into the pool room. You can just jump left off the balcony. We want to head back to the elevators. Once at the elevator, go to the lower Brimstone and head back to Troik by walking forward through the double doors. Turn left through the first door, past the two sets of stairs, past the security guard, through the second door, and then, of course, through the third door into the cushioned room where once again we will find Troik. And we need to speak to Troik. You need to go down to the fourth option. Big Sal agreed to let you go. Then you need to click the option, okay, so what can you tell me about the guns the Omertas have? Then you need to click the second option, what can we do to take care of the guns? And once again, as tempting as that speech option is, do not click it. You must click the second option, give me the thermite and I'll destroy the weapons. Now what we need to do is head straight back to Mick and Ralph's. So I'll assume at this point you know your way back out of the Gomorrah. So once back outside in the strip, we need to head to Freeside's East Gate. Once here, we need to head back to Mick and Ralph's. Once inside Mick and Ralph's, we need to locate Mick, who of course gave us the unmarked side quest. And then we need to click the new option, good news, the Omertas say they'll buy arms from you again, and you will see what happens.
Outstanding. You have no idea how much this means to me, but I think this little beauty will give you an idea.
Okay, so as you may have noticed up in the top left-hand corner of the screen, the Pimp Boy 3 billion was equipped. I'm just gonna head outside to the light so we can see this thing better, and as you can see, our Pip-Boy 3000 has been swapped or upgraded to this Pimp-Boy 3 billion, which is of course a pimped out version of the Pip-Boy. It's gold and covered in diamantes, as the elders would say. Now, it's a purely aesthetic difference. There's no advantages to having this Pimp-Boy 3 billion. If for whatever reason you do want to swap back to your Pip-Boy, you can head back to Mick and say, I'd like to switch to my Pip-Boy. And if you want to swap back to the Pimp-Boy, you can click, I'd like to switch to my Pimp-Boy. And of course, whenever you equip the Pimp-Boy 3 billion, it plays that little disco music bit. Now you can swap between them as much as you want. And that, my fellow friends, is how to acquire the Pimp-Boy 3 billion. Oh yeah, it does look pretty sick. So there's all the non-DLC Wild Wastelands Easter eggs found in Fallout New Vegas. But I have a bonus Easter egg, a bonus egg, direct from the Ovary of Wisdom. Now, this Easter egg does not require the Wild Wastelands trait to be active for this Easter egg to be present. However, there are specifics that need to happen for this Easter egg to be there. Therefore, I couldn't get it to work to put it in the normal Easter egg video for Fallout New Vegas. I have since figured out how to get it to work, so I'm going to show you guys here. The first step is to have never been to Brockflower Cave, the same cave that the rodents of unusual size are in. You have to have never been there before on the character you're playing. So what we want to do is head to Freeside and more specifically direct ourselves slightly to the right and head into the Atomic Wrangler Casino. Once in here, we need to speak to Francine Garrett. Do you have any work to be done around here? Then just click you've got yourself a deal, and then you want to go down to the second option, Lady Jane. Then just click that's all for now and you'll get the quest Debt Collector. Then all we need to do is head up to the Strip North Gate, and what we want to do is veer off to the right, and there we will see this lady sitting on a park bench, and this is of course Lady Jane, who you have come to collect the debt from. She says she doesn't have the cabs, everything she had was in her caravan. Now, as tempting as the top two options are, you want to click the third one, I could retrieve the caps from your caravan. And once you accept the quest, she will tell you that her caravan was last seen in Brockflower Cave. Now, like I said, if you've been to Brockflower Cave at all before getting this quest, the caravan will not show up. You have to get the quest and then go there for the first time and the caravan will be there. So of course we head to Brockflower Cave, which is in exactly the same spot as it was earlier on in the video. Once inside, we want to walk down. Once we get to this carp thing, we want to turn right. We want to continue to follow this path all the way down, and in this big openy room filled with all kinds of toxic rubbish, we will find Jane's Brahmin. So this is Jane's caravan that she was talking about and that won't show unless this is your first time coming here. But here is where it gets cool. If we pan around behind the Brahmin, what do we have here? I'm sure a couple of you recognize this. So as I'm sure it is quite apparent by now, this is the head of Lincoln. Now, not only is this a nod to Lincoln, but this is actually a nod to Fallout 3, where the Lincoln Memorial statue has had its head stolen, and you actually go on a quest to get the head back, and eventually the head is reattached, but apparently not for very long. So I thought that was really awesome that they put in a cross-game reference like that I'm sure so few people noticed. I mean, with it being so glitchy with the caravan not appearing, and the face being facing the side of the cave wall. In fact, I couldn't even find a single picture of this on the internet. So I'm glad I was able to share that with you guys finally. So it's cool to have a back game reference and of course a little nod towards arguably the greatest president that the United States of America has ever had. Birthed of course directly from the Ovary of Wisdom. That concludes our Fallout New Vegas Wild Wastelands trait non-DLC Easter egg video. With all of the hype for Fallout 4, be sure to check out The Ideal Fallout 4, a video created by my good friends Michael and Scott from Fudge Muppet. They gave me the opportunity to have a speaking part in that video and also to create the thumbnail. So be sure to check that out, the link will be in the description. If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to share amongst your family and friends and fellow Vault Dwellers. Let me know your thoughts on the Easter eggs in this video by leaving a comment. And as always, if if you did enjoy this video and you would like to see more videos similar to this one, please subscribe. It helps me know that people are interested in these kind of videos. And if you are interested in other Easter egg videos, as you probably can see on screen, you can click any of the links to go straight to those videos, or you can click the playlist button, which will take you to the Easter eggs playlist so you can browse the entire library and choose at your will. So with that said, I would like to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I'll see you there shortly.